Welcome to Master the Game. I'm Juice, and this is day 8 of the 30-day world building challenge. Today we are talking about food, so let's get started. Food is not something I tend to put a lot of thought into when I'm running a tabletop RPG. In fact, outside of what might be found in a tavern, I don't put a ton of energy into thinking of all the different foods this region might eat or things like that. So one thing I will say though is this is not something that should just be overlooked all the time. For example, in my Fall of Plaguestone game, there's a lot of references to turnips and things like that, and it has become a lot of fun to role play about that. Our goblin characters do not tend to love turnips, and it's been a lot of fun to, again, role play this out. Now, when you're thinking of food in your setting, I think that coming up with some odd things here and there is a lot of fun, and it's going to lead to some really fun role play encounters with your groups. For instance, if you come across a settlement that only eats vegetarian dishes, that might make your barbarian who loves meat a little unwelcome here. Imagine like in Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, when the dwarves are, eating the salads and stuff. They're not real happy about that, right? When they're in Rivendell. So again, these types of things are fun to role play. So occasionally mix things up and don't be afraid to try using some really off the wall things for food. Maybe certain establishments eat a lot of bugs or worms or things like that. Again, this could be a lot of fun to see your players' reactions. Be careful not to trigger certain people, but it still would be a lot of fun to role play some of this stuff out. So again, just dabble with it. I tend to look for something that makes sense to the area. And in my world, I make a lot of comparisons to our real world when I'm doing things like this. So for example, when you are in the Orcs Arrow Peninsula area, say you're in the Eastern Dwarven Territory, I think of things that they would have in China and Japan and things like that. When you're in places like Elda, you might have more of like a English type foods there, So again, mix those things up, look for real world inspirations, and you should be fine. It shouldn't take but 5 minutes to come up with a tavern menu. They have crepes, they have all sorts of other things like oatmeal, whatever. It's easy to come up with that kind of stuff. Quiche, maybe quiche is a main meal or in this area. Pie, pasta might be a big deal. All these things. Incorporate these things into your games and especially into certain areas, and you'll liven it up a little bit. It'll give the players a sense of what this tavern is like, what it smells like. Might give ideas for what the types of people are into when it comes to food. Maybe even incorporating festivals around certain types of food. We've got stuff like that here in America where like we have like a bologna festival in Michigan, in a town called Yale, or cherry festival and things like that. So maybe you have stuff like that in your world based on what the main food is of these different areas. It can be a lot of fun to explore this and maybe even incorporate some of your players' favorite dishes without them realizing up front. Maybe just ask them a couple questions before the campaign. You're like, hey, what are some of your favorite foods? Oh, okay, cool. And then just incorporate it. I just like to draw real world comparisons, and then I might choose some really obscure thing like a kiwi or things like that. In fact, I think I had in one of my games, I had what I called a starfish fruit. Things like that. I just tried to come up with a completely original idea for a menu item in a couple instances. We had a baker whose pies had a special ingredient that was eggs from sturges. So there was sturge eggs that they used. And that was the special ingredient in the pies. So again, I try to do some obscure stuff here and there that, I think is kind of fun. Sometimes I like to make my players go, what the heck is that? Like, why would anybody eat that? Just mix it up. But what I do again too is I make a menu. So I have a settlement sheet. You can go find it over on my website, rpgjuice.com. Go to the download section, and you will see I have blank sheets called settlement sheets. And on there, I have a section for tavern menu items. Put the different foods or drinks right there that would be common to this place, but maybe not other places. Things like that. It's got other sections for other types of prompts for you to put in there, but that one is perfect for this prompt. So this is Master the Game. I am Juice. Game on.